Hey guys, Alan Bishop, the Alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest, back with you for another one piece at a time Distilling Institute video. Again, your source for all things distillation, whether it be legal, moonshining, home distilling, professional distilling, brandy distilling, whiskey distilling, gin distilling, absinthe distilling, what the fuck ever. I don't care. It's all the same to me, one way or the other. So, question on our utility of a Thumper video that I got just shortly ago. And as always, if you have questions, reach out to me, bishopshomegrown@gmail.com. Also social media and or the YouTube comments below, or the alchemistcabinet.com. Also, please go to the Alchemist Cabinet. I cannot get it out today. The alchemistcabinet.com/thewarehouse1 and order all of our cool apparel. I've got some coming for myself because I can't ask you to order it without actually wearing it on the channel, obviously. So you got to see the quality of it to know that you want it. So, but thank you guys for helping spread the words. We are at 500 plus subscribers now, which I did not expect. I know that's still a very small YouTube channel for the distillation community, but considering the level of distillers that we are reaching out to, I feel like that's a pretty good number, especially considering I'm recording this off of a cell phone. So take it for what it is, right guys? It's not the video that matters all the time. It is sometimes the information that matters. So from RPTV, I do not have a Thumper and my still would not be easy to add one, and I really don't want to either. I think you have said in the past on like a brandy, you would suggest doing a doubling run and adding the mash / fruit / juice into the pot for the second distillation. One quick correction here. So I would do a doubling run, finish the spirit, take it to a higher proof, then I would macerate that with those various fruits and redistill it. That's what's called a blank run or Geist run in German distillation. That makes sense to me, and probably the route I will go on my next brandy. My question is, could you give me a handful of botanicals to add into a gin basket that would add some interesting flavors and aromas? I'm really not big on cinnamon and everything, so other ideas or things to include with it to make it more interesting. Not really looking to make a gin either, so this would be more for grains and brandies. So floral elements is the first thing I lean into. So I like jasmine flowers. Stay away from lavender. It's very hard to keep lavender from going that soapy direction or that detergent direction or that artificial aroma direction. I really like honeysuckle a lot if you have access to honeysuckle. Marigolds add very interesting characteristics to whiskeys that are sort of in that citrus hop sort of category as well. There, you know, think of citrus too. That's something else to play with. One of the other things I think people miss out on is the idea that they can improve a spirit by adding some things to the distillate before redistilling it in particular. One of the things that you can do is you can add a little bit of licorice root. Licorice root does not taste like licorice, by the way, at all. It tastes kind of like stevia. It's kind of an artificial, or not an artificial, but a natural sweetener sort of taste to it. But at about 3 to 6 grams per gallon, macerated for maybe a week or so before you run this in a pot, because you probably don't want to run solids in your still. What you will get is you will get a very creamy mouthfeel, a very full-bodied spirit off of it. It changes very much so the way that the spirit tastes. One of the things I like playing around with is dark chocolate and cherries. You can go and get you some good cherries and syrup, or even blackberries and syrup. I like to macerate those as well, and then take them out and redistill those to where you have some grain and some fruit at the same time. As specifically with fruits that don't always give the best flavor when they're fermented. So blackberries and cherry, well, cherry does do okay. Blackberries, raspberries, things of that nature that are more volatile, I really like to play around with in that nature. I feel like split brandies like apple and rye actually work better when you actually distill rye whiskey and then you double pot distill it and then you macerate apples in that and then redistill it. I think that gives a better quality, in my opinion. You can also put those apples right there in your gin basket. You can either dry them down, which gives a more concentrated flavor, or you can use them fresh. Now you'll lower your proof because you will be pulling some of that fresh juice off those apples through the steam, but you will get a great quality aroma and taste in your whiskey or your brandy that you want to do that with. Trying to think of things that don't go in more in that spice direction. I mean, the sky's kind of the limit. You know, it depends on what you really want. I tend to like, you know, I don't mind a little bit of mint in something. For example, that's a lot of fun sometimes, especially with some whiskeys, or even some horehounds is a lot of fun with some whiskeys. I always like to think in terms of contrast. So think of the whiskey that you're producing. What do you got? You got a sweeter style distillate that has the perception of sweetness with no actual, you know, obviously sugar in it, because sugar doesn't distill. Well, maybe you want to lean into something a little bit more bitter or a little bit more herbal. Do you have something a little more earthy? Well, maybe you need some brightness, maybe something like some citrus or some floral elements. Those are the directions I would tend to think in as far as that goes, if you want to produce something very unique to yourself that can become your own signature thing. I mean, you know, it's a matter of kind of playing around with those things, and I think if you have some understanding of maybe perhaps you know, the culinary arts, you have an idea of those contrasts. There's also this idea of what I call flavor bridges, things that you have to put together to actually get the flavor that you want. So for example, and I know you mentioned you don't like cinnamon, but this is just an example. So if you want the actual flavor of cinnamon, the only way to get the actual flavor of cinnamon without going artificial or using oils or something of that nature is to combine 3 ingredients, and it's actually cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon, and cayenne pepper. No cayenne pepper, you're not getting that red hot sort of flavor. It's just not going to happen ever, not in a million years, in a natural way. Because those things contrast one another, that's what makes it work, right? It's like, I don't know if you guys are, you know, in the Midwest, we make chili with noodles. I know that that's sacrilegious to some of you guys, but in Southern Indiana, if it ain't got noodles in it, it ain't fucking chili. I'll just tell you right out. But 2 things that we sometimes will add to chili here is you throw you a Granny Smith apple in there, cut it up real fine. It'll dissolve when you cook the chili. And then you throw just a little bit of very dark chocolate in there. It's the contrast. That's what makes it work. It's not sweet. It changes the flavors of everything else in that chili. So those are things to think about. I mentioned in the other videos that I've done this evening, here in this beautiful Indiana November day, my favorite month out of the year in southern Indiana in the Ohio Valley. We are running a contest on this channel, a giveaway contest. We're asking you to submit recipes to run on the 13 stills / 1 piece at a time crossover still that I designed, Jason Wade Harold built, that you can buy from 13 Stills. That challenge me as a distiller. These can either be single pass distillations, double pass distillations, reflux distillations, using the weapon of mass extraction, 1 gallon head / 1 gallon gin box. You can do any of those things, but if it challenges me as a distiller and I pick your recipe that you can submit via bishopshomegrown@gmail.com, not only will you get 100% credit on this channel, we will also send you a free copy that you have won, that you have earned, of the Alchemist Cabinet Philosophy Volume 1 book that I will autograph myself, a copy of the Short History of Distillation in Indiana's Black Forest Region DVD, a copy of the Alan Bishop Experience DVD, and one of our unique grain packages that we sell at the Alchemist Cabinet / the Warehouse 1, as well as maybe a few other freebies. So reach out to me, guys. There is one ahead of the pack right now, and it is a very interesting distillation. So, all right, guys, I love y'all. Catch you later.